Hey everybody, welcome back to Primotimes. This will be the update episode. So, I've just dropped a friend off at work. I just had to check something outside the ambulance. Let me take you with me. I'll go grab a quick tea and then we'll find a nice spot. And I have some stuff to bring you up to date on. Okay? All right. I just needed a nice quiet spot for us to enjoy my tea. Well, you could say our tea. You can go get a tea or coffee. And then come back and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you everything that happened after I got the ambulance home with the failure of the suspension system on the rear. So I'm just going to grab my tea and open it up, and then we will begin. Whoops. Got to find the seam. The seam has to be in the right spot. Okay. All right. So, firstly, it's sort of a nice day here today in Central Ontario, or Eastern Central Ontario. It's about 24 degrees, which is quite comfortable, but it's really humid, and we just had a thunderstorm roll through about 2 hours ago or so, and it was quite violent for a few minutes. Entertaining. I like nature, doing nature stuff. It's always reassuring to see who's in charge on this planet, and it's not humans. And speaking of not being in charge, once I got the ambulance back to the house, I had to start immediately working on options to get that strut, which I was pretty sure had failed. Earlier that day, when I was out with Rick and my other friend Tariq, who is the fellow that let me park the ambulance at his family home after it had broken down outside the city. So we arranged to get it back to the house. At least I did. Tariq was helpful in seeing me off that early morning at 2 a.m. was it? So it took about triple the time, almost 4 times the amount of time to get it back because I couldn't drive very fast. And I didn't want to bust anything in the back any further. Every crease, every little tiny thing you hit in the road, it was terrible, the banging and banging. So the next Sunday was the day of ponder and research and trying to find out what the heck to do. The next Monday, I had to order the strut, the hydraulic active strut from Liquid Spring. And it did arrive. It came towards the end of the week. Friday morning, I believe it arrived, which was sort of, how would I call it, ironic, because the Saturday next, it was a very nice day out actually, and Rick came over, and the idea was that he and I could swap out this strut quite easily. And if everything had have been going our way, that might have been possible. But as you know, I don't have good luck usually. I have the opposite of good luck, which is crappy luck. I could say other descriptive words, but you get the idea. At any rate, I struggled. We get the ambulance up in the air with a new pneumatic or airbag jack that I have purchased, because the other jack I had wasn't really suitable for the weight of the ambulance. And you have to be safe. So this new pneumatic jack works wonderfully. I gave you a demonstration before, and it works off of my Milwaukee air pump for the tires. So it's quite convenient that way. And then I already had on hand some 6-ton jack stands to support the ambulance once the airbags get it up. Well, that's no problem. We get into it. We get the tires and rims off of the axle. The bolts that hold on this hydraulic strut, we believe, are 32, maybe 33 millimeter. And we didn't even have a socket for that, let alone they've probably been on there for many, many years, at least perhaps going back to the building of the ambulance. So they would need the proper drive to take it off, the torque to do it, and probably heat. And we had a small propane torch, which I had used to get other bolts off the ambulance. So we couldn't do it. We had to put everything back together. There were thoughts of calling a mobile mechanic, but that would have been $1,000 probably just to get them there to do the labor. So I started looking at better options. I first took it to, now mind you, this is the next Monday morning. I took it to another shop in town that has done work for me. It was nearby, so I took it over at 4 o'clock in the morning before I went for my morning tea with the guys just down the road. And that shop gives it their best effort. That afternoon, Monday afternoon, they try and put it up on their lift. Well, mind you, they can get it on their lift, but it's a roll-on lift. It's a platform lift. And then they can't lift the axle to get the tires off. So they call me back with the information that they cannot do the job. Well, there's another nearby truck shop, but it's a heavy-duty truck shop. We're talking tractor trailers, gravel haulers, huge tractor trailer type tow trucks. They work on all that very heavy equipment. However, they do have the proper arm lifts that are heavy enough to get this thing up in the air and then be able to take the tires off, work on the axle, work on the hydraulic strut. So I took it there, and they couldn't get at it until the day after. So now we're working on a week and a half that the ambulance has been pretty much non-functional. However, they do get it up, they get the strut on, and then because I'm trying to save money, this is getting wonderfully expensive in a negative way. So I tell them, hey, if you can do the strut, I'll do the fluid. I can replace the fluid, bleed the accumulators, and that should be fine. I can do that bit. They call me back the next day before they're taking it down and tell me that their mechanic says that the two supply lines from the main hydraulic pump to the struts is bad. They're getting bad. And if they didn't cause the problem, they would be the next soon problem. I didn't need to have this thing stranding me and not be able to do any journeys or take you around and driving. So we replaced those two hydraulic lines, which more than doubled the cost of their work at this point. They're done. They do it. The road that they're on, about half a kilometer up, is a dead end. So that's where I took the ambulance that afternoon, because remember, the strut might be replaced and those two lines are replaced. However, there's no fluid in the system. So Rick comes over to help me again. I put the jack on the back, lift it up. I can't get under the damn thing. I don't fit under. I don't know if I'm too fat or too thick. Well, there's people that would say both. At any rate, we couldn't do it. It just wouldn't work. So I come up with this magical idea that we need a curb. If I can put the front wheels up on a good cement curb, I think that'll give us the height that we need. So we had to drive a little bit to get to an industrial park. We found a building that was for rent. It was empty. There was nobody around. Perfect. We go out to the back parking lot. I get the front wheels up on the curb. There's enough room. Crawl underneath. We're able to add fluid. I'm able to test the pump. We have to cycle it several times in order for everything to get full of new hydraulic fluid. And Bob's your uncle. She's back on the road. It's working again. Wow. Like I had enough of this whole situation. Holy moly cow. I was tired of all this. My stress level, the first week it wasn't so bad, but as the financial stress deepened, so did my own personal anxiety and stress level. That affected my voice, because when my BPH is triggered a bit, it affects the prostate, but it also, for some reason, affects my voice. In fact, the day before yesterday, I could barely speak. I would put out words, parts of sentences, and all that would come out was air. There was no voice. Yesterday was moderately bad. Today is bad, but not so bad. Pain level, probably a 4 or 5. But again, we all have our issues. I'm not the only one. I'm not trying to centralize me on this whole planet. It's just stuff that I'm going through. I share it with you. I'm being very open about pretty much everything, and that's just the way it is. So we got sidetracked by a couple of episodes. I apologize. There were other things we were supposed to be doing, supposed to be looking at. I have a lot of materials on hand that I've been ordering over the past year and a half. I'm going back to some of these orders now of switches, LED strips, different things that relays, for example, sockets for USB charging and whatnot. I have all these things on hand. I just have not been able to get at it and put them in. I just need another couple of days to bring myself down, to try and manipulate my thoughts and get myself back on the happy track, I'll call it. And now that the ambulance is running, my stress level, anxiety will come down a bit, and I should feel a little bit better about things. So at this point, I can tell you that in the next episode or two or more, we have a lot of things to do. And there's maybe a tiny bit of a surprise coming up. So I'll definitely keep you in tabs with what's going on with everything. I really have not been hiding anything from you, my viewer. I've been trying to be fully open and keeping you up to date. It's just difficult at times to put out the next episode and sort of thing. For this, for example, on the memory card here on my Insta360 Ace Pro 2 that you're watching me on right now, or watching me from, I've probably got 3 or 4 other intros.
Hey folks, welcome back to Primotimes. Hi everybody. This episode, I don't know where to start. I know where I need to finish it.
And I don't like putting out episodes that don't give you the right information or information that's valuable to you to find out where I am with the channel and where I am with my life. That's it. I can't really think of much else to say. In the next episode, I'm going to finally go back and do something I promised that was supposed to be happening 2 episodes ago. We're going to get a look behind the main switch panel, the main control panel for the patient area. We're going to get a look back there and see what we need to do. And then I think there's 2 other main little things that are going to have to happen. Probably we can get them done on that same episode. I think so. So, folks, I have always really, really appreciated you being here with me. Please, if you can, touch the like, subscribe if you want, because if it isn't all bad news that comes out of these episodes, then it's really strange news, or at least some happy news. Happy news has got to be coming. It has. Oh my gosh. Like, I've had enough of this other bad news. So, I love you all. Thank you for being here. Hang around, and like I said, if you touch that subscribe, I won't waste your time with willy-nilly episodes. It'll always be something valuable. And by the way, somebody else had to send me an email saying, please improve your audio. And I have these microphone things, so yes, I'm going to use them more and more. Take care, folks. We'll see you very soon. And look after yourself and those you love. Bye-bye.